the report this weekend from Colin Cowherd was that he could really see. He think it makes sense for both sides, Jimmy G to the Seahawks. And then it was Jeremy Fowler who said the Seahawks have at least discussed internally the idea of bringing him on the team, which is close to tampering, but didn't say they were considering trading for him. What do you think of this potential trade, given the fact that the Seahawks have not enough cap space?
Yeah, that trade is not happening. That trade is not going to happen. Put that into the sink drawer and just, flush it down the drain, whatever you want to call it. Of course, they've thought about bringing him on. It's because they think the Niners are going to cut him, and they know their division rival better than most, or they should. At least not doing the right job.
Exactly.
That's an issue there. But I think they're keeping a close eye on it. It's because I really am adamant that I think as soon as Garoppolo passes a physical, which training camp's in 2 weeks, so in 2 weeks, 2-3 weeks, I bet you we're going to hear that he's going to pass his physical. He's reportedly already started throwing within the last few weeks. You're going to hear him pass a physical, and then I think he's going to try to demand or request a release because it doesn't behoove him to burn that month and a half time of training camp when he can go get ahead of the game and finally, become more of an attracted commodity to people to want to sign, to get embedded into the playbook and start building rapport, because that's really the time where you build all that synchronization, because once that's all out the door, it's just a straight game planning from there for the rest of the season. So Seahawks, that's the only way I see it.
Publicly or privately?
For the what?
Do you think he'll request the trade publicly or privately?
A trade privately, and I think a release. He'll probably. If it's a trade privately,
yeah,
because they already kind of know, like, all right, it's the trade. We know.
I meant to say already know. Sorry about that.
I think if he does a release, I think it's going to be made both private at first, public, but then it's going to get released out there. And I think the Niners would be okay letting it known out there because it's like, hey, look, he wants to get released. We're player first. We'll cut him. We just didn't work. We wanted to do right by Jimmy because we like the guy. And that's the one thing they keep saying. We like the guy. That's it.
I just can't see the Niners giving up on this trade. They've come this far trying to trade Jimmy Garoppolo.
That's another thing.
And if he wants to get released, I could see him being like, no, buddy, you just started throwing. We're going to give this a chance. And there's another thing. Let's say they release him and he signs with the Seahawks. Because, honestly, if he's a free agent, they probably should sign him. He'd be cheap. He'd be better than what they have. Dude, the Niners home opener this year, week 2, Seattle. It just seems to me that if you're going to just give up, maybe do it after week 2. Now, I know his salary gets guaranteed and stuff, but wouldn't you want to hold on to him for a couple of weeks and let that game go by and try to trade him a few more times and then possibly give up, or just keep him as a backup rather than invite him in to Trey Lance's home opener and put that kind of pressure on the team? And that as a journalist, I hope that happens. I want to cover Lance versus Garoppolo week 2 at Levi Stadium, but I don't know if the Niners really want that smoke. That's a lot of smoke. It's a lot of anxiety, man.
That's more just noise than actual real substance, because who the hell cares if Jimmy Garoppolo's on the Seahawks and he comes down? You should be asking. You should be praying for that. Fingers crossed, release him. And if you're the Niners, how long do these guys preach about, it takes a while for these guys to learn, to practice, develop? You think Jimmy's just going to hit the ground running? You think he's even going to win automatically the starting position? Probably not. That might take a little while. That being said,
though, it's like the Niners, for whatever you want to say about how they feel about Jimmy, they have even less confidence in Trey. They have no confidence in their quarterbacks for whatever reason. So I just can see the Niners being like, I don't really want him to go to – I want him to go to Seattle. I think that would be hilarious and great. But I could just feel like John Lynch saying, oh, I don't know. He's going to win over there.
I feel like they just love Jimmy. It's like every time they talk so much praise about him, they never really cite anything that's great about him on the field wise. They just said stupid things like, Jose a leader, he's a winner, he executes, whatever. But they never can cite something. With Trey Lance, that's the one thing. Yes, that's the one thing you can notice. They do give him that. It's just, they just love the guy, dude. They love the guy. You compare him to Baker Mayfield. They couldn't wait to get rid of him. So, you look at the opposite situation where you have a quarterback who also is supposed to be out of the move, but they like him and they're a little more hesitant to let him go for at least like peanuts. So, that's what I think is the difference is, you got a quarterback you like, or even just a player you like, but you really want the quarterback to be like a stand-up guy, not someone who's like a toxic, who's someone like, short case of like an a-hole like that, you want to be able to like him. So I think these guys are so embedded with him. And then you mentioned John Lynch. He might also have like his fingerprints on that, maybe somehow holding on to them there. where, we just can't let him go. We know what he's worth. And that's where they're really overvaluing what he's worth, because if he was worth anywhere near what the Niners have been holding him near and dear to, he'd been gone already then. But the league's telling you what they think of him.
Yeah, and I don't see any team trading for Jimmy unless it's Cleveland and they make a really, really desperate bad move. I don't see, and I've felt this way all offseason, the idea of giving the Niners something so you can take back Jimmy and his $24 million this year doesn't make any sense. It's stupid. Now, if Jimmy Garoppolo were a free agent and you could sign him for $5 million, sure, who cares? Why not? Give it a shot. But trading for this contract, that doesn't make any freaking sense. So, I don't think Seattle's definitely not that stupid. They don't even have the cap space to do it. But I'm sure there are like 4 or 5 teams, kind of like buzzards, kind of circling, waiting for the Niners to cut bait. And they might be interested if it was on the sale rack, it being Jimmy Garoppolo.
And Pete Carroll wants to win. I mean, that guy is like in the 70s, whatever hell old he is. They're not going to try to fold the season. At least he knows, like, hey, Jimmy's starting caliber player. He's played on a proven winner team the same way all these head coaches think. So, like you said, give him like a 5-year deal. $5 deal, $5 million deal for this year. And then maybe kick it up to like 8 or 9 if he wins the job or does incentives or something.
What about when Baker Mayfield wins the job in Carolina? Sam Darnold to Seattle. Not that he's good, but there's the USC connection.
Yeah, and they can't cut him either because he's guaranteed. Or I guess they could. Well, I don't know. Come on. The Panthers #1. That's already a weird job to begin with. That's a circus going over there. Matt Rule, all those guys, what they've done over there, they've really messed up.
Yeah.
But I think that's one. Yeah. It's kind of clear Baker's going to win the job. He's
saying. And it seems like Carroll likes to give USC guys a second chance. Is there a little connection? He just signed Uchenna Nwosu this offseason, went to USC. I don't know. Something to think about. He knows Jimmy, man. Although, who would you rather have, Jimmy or Darnold?
Jimmy. I'm not taking Darnold after last year, dude. I'm not taking Darnold after last year. Darnold was stinky. That guy was blue cheese to me.
You think Jimmy would have been better on Carolina?
Yes. Yes, to be honest. Yeah, I think so.
I might take Darnold because, Darnold might be the only quarterback with a lower football IQ than Jimmy. But at least Darnold can move and is young. I don't know. I'd like to see Darnold on a team like Seattle that can actually run the ball.
Yeah, see, that was me last year. And then once after those first 4 games, they got in the hot start, he just was bad. He might have been the worst quarterback.
He's bad. Yeah.
I can't do that. I'll take Jimmy. At least cliche Kyle Shanahan. At least I know what I get with Jimmy. I get a winner, a leader, a guy I like.
That's my problem with Jimmy, though. That's my problem. I know exactly what I get. Okay. That's enough of Jimmy for today.
Works for Subway.